Building a consumer PC almost always requires a strict adherence to boundaries. It is an exercise in balancing efficiency against cost, carefully allocating a budget to ensure no single component outpaces the rest of the system. Engineers design standard motherboards to operate within very specific constraints. They have to fit neatly inside standard ATX cases, draw a manageable amount of power from the well, and survive the thermal limits of an average bedroom on a summer afternoon. However, a tiny fraction of the user base operates entirely outside these parameters. Extreme overclockers and enthusiasts pushing flagship hardware like the AMD Ryzen 9 and the RTX 5090 demand a platform where financial and spatial constraints are completely ignored. The MSI MEG X870E GODLIKE is the physical manifestation of that extreme engineering philosophy. Every millimeter of its oversized printed circuit board is utilized. The ultra-detailed texture of the PCB is dense with isolated circuitry, heavily reinforced tracing, and industrial-grade capacitors. A highly reflective black armor plates the majority of the surface. Before a single cable is connected, this dark, heavy metal housing establishes a distinctly premium, uncompromising visual language. The GODLIKE serves as a luxury foundation engineered for a single purpose: to eliminate every conceivable physical and electrical bottleneck from top-tier computing. Pushing a modern flagship CPU to extreme overclocking limits requires a massive, uninterrupted delivery of electrical current. Supplying that voltage cleanly is only half the engineering equation. This 3D heat map tracks intense thermal energy under extreme load. As power spikes, heat pools around the central CPU socket, threatening system stability. To counter this, massive geometric heat sinks rise over the VRMs, acting as thermal sponges pulling critical heat away. The resulting heavy metallics, deep shadows, and sharply angled architecture give the board a striking presence. That brutalist aesthetic is a direct consequence of function. It is the exact physical footprint required to sustain maximum processing power without triggering thermal throttling. Delivering clean power is useless if the system cannot move information. The internal nervous system of the motherboard must process immense amounts of data instantly. Installation begins with next-generation memory. High-frequency DDR5 RAM slots alongside Gen 5 M.2 solid-state drives sit deeply integrated into the board's heavy armor. Below the CPU, massive flagship graphics cards like the RTX 5090 drop into heavily reinforced PCIe slots, structurally braced to support the extreme weight of modern cooler shrouds. Linking these components are PCIe Gen 5 and USB 4 protocols, providing a massive leap in raw bandwidth that allows terabytes of data to flow between the storage, memory, and processors simultaneously. This internal speed is matched externally by the integration of Wi-Fi 7 and a dedicated 10 gigabit LAN port, ensuring network traffic scales equally with the local hardware. By synchronizing these high-speed lanes, the board acts as an unrestricted data superhighway. The CPU and GPU are never left waiting for information. Taking brutalist engineering and refining it into a luxury product presents a unique industrial design challenge. The solution is centered around the dynamic Dashboard 3 LCD display, embedded directly into the sleek motherboard armor. Rather than relying solely on static backlighting, this high-resolution screen delivers animated, real-time system statistics, displaying temperatures, clock speeds, and voltages exactly where the hardware is working. Synchronized RGB lighting traces the edges of the reflective plating, creating a cohesive, deeply customizable cyberpunk aesthetic across the entire build. Through these additions, raw printed circuitry transitions into an interactive piece of luxury architecture. Engineering hardware with absolute maximum specifications carries unavoidable physical consequences. Looking at this minimalist wireframe comparison, the contrast in scale is clear. A standard ATX footprint is immediately engulfed by the vastly larger E-ATX boundaries required to house the GODLIKE's power delivery and armored cooling systems. The premium price tag associated with this hardware is simply the mathematical result of instructing engineers to completely abandon standard cost constraints. The massive dimensions and high entry fee are deliberate trade-offs, the required cost of utilizing a platform built entirely without limits. The MSI MEG X870E GODLIKE sits squarely at the absolute current ceiling of consumer technology. Installed inside a fully assembled custom liquid-cooled PC, its imposing metallic architecture and synchronized lighting dictate the visual tone of the entire system. If you want to see more deep dives into flagship hardware like this, hit the like button and subscribe for more epic tech videos. अगर आपको किसी भी PC build, GPU, CPU या gaming setup के बारे में जानकारी चाहिए तो comment section में ज़रूर बताइए. True high-end PC building demands that raw, unrestricted performance perfectly aligns with luxury design.